Welcome back to the Avatar series right here at Comicstorian, your number one place for dramatic readings of your favorite comic books. I'm Dan, and today we're going to be continuing the Avatar Imbalance series with part 2. And don't forget, if you want to support the channel, please be sure to subscribe and click that bell icon for the notifications. Riding his glider, Aang returns to his friends at the destroyed factory. He lands, quickly explaining how the thug had fallen from the cliff, and he managed to catch him. He was so grateful he gave up who hired him to attack the Earthen Fire refinery, Aang explains, telling the group that the goon was hired by 2 teenage girls, one of whom was a skilled earthbender. Boss Lao comes over, explaining that it wasn't only his factory that was attacked, and it seems like this was coordinated. There's something going on in Cranefish Town, something lurking beneath the surface. Time for Team Avatar investigations to delve into these mysterious goings-on, Sokka tells them, pulling out his investigator's hat and adjusting the monocle. I can't believe you still have that hat, Katara tells him. I can't believe you ever thought I'd get rid of this amazing hat. Do you know me at all? Sokka asks. The team begins their investigation. Moving through each destroyed factory, they search for clues while questioning the owners and workers. After a time, Aang stands with Sokka, saying how he doesn't see any connection between the factories themselves. There is a connection! All the factories are owned by non-benders, and judging by the damage to the building, the attacks were made by benders, Sokka tells him simply. Aang still seems confused, but Sokka explains it to him. The buildings that were destroyed all house the machines that had been putting benders out of work. Sokka explains that bending is a skill that very few people have, and some of those people use their bending to oppress others. And now there are machines that make things a little more equal, Aang finishes. Which might make certain benders feel threatened, Sokka adds. It all finally makes sense to Aang, who informs the group that he wants to speak with Councilwoman Li Ling about helping out with the damaged business, believing that this will help bridge the gap between the non-benders and the benders. The usual Avatar thing, wherever there's a gap, you'll bridge it, Toph jokes. They travel to the Councilwoman's home, with Sokka marveling at the sheer size and luxury of the place. Meeting with the woman, they exchange pleasantries and sit down to get to the point of their meeting. Aang explains to her about the factories being attacked. I was hoping that prominent business owners will support non-benders in their time of need. It may go a long way towards easing the conflict between the two groups, Aang tells her. Li Ling nods, telling Aang that she would be happy to help her fellow business owners. In the background, Momo has begun chasing the councilwoman's cat around the room. The cat jumps on the counter, knocking over a statue and smashing it to the floor. Aang yells at Momo for dropping the statue, before offering to try and fix it for Li Ling. Don't worry, Avatar. My daughter can repair it. She's a very talented earthbender, she tells them, calling for her 2 daughters. The 2 teenagers enter the room, with Toph suddenly straightening as she recognizes their footsteps. After introducing themselves, Ya Ling quickly shows her talents by fixing the statue. Wow, that's fantastic earthbending, Aang tells her with a smile. It's okay, Toph scoffs. Ya Ling gets a little defensive, questioning whether Toph thinks she is a better earthbender. Nah, I know I'm better, Toph tells her with a smile. She holds out her hand, pulling a vase made of meteorite to her. Ya Ling stares in surprise as Toph begins to morph the shape of the space metal. While Ya Ling gushes over Toph's abilities, Toph asks if she's ever been up to the cliffside. Me? Nah, never been there. Ooh, make it change shape again, Ya Ling answers. A short time later, the team is leaving the house, with Li Ling promising to send the supplies to aid the factories. Before they leave though, Ya Ling asks Toph if she can teach her metal bending. Though she explains it is a difficult skill, Toph agrees to meet her on the beach tomorrow morning to begin her training. But only because I like being called Sifu, Toph tells her with a smile. As the group walks away, Rue begins to whisper to her sister, asking why she would become friends with the Avatar's group. Listen up, Rue. Toph's a bender. She'll come around to our side eventually, Yaling explains. She turns and walks away, but not before hissing at her sister to not tell their mother. As they walk away, Aang is glad that things with Councilwoman Li Ling went so well. Nope, that lady's dirty. She's involved in the sabotage somehow, Toph huffs. Everyone turns, surprised at Toph's words and questioning how she knows. She explains that she recognized the daughter's footsteps from the attack on the factory, and knew that Yaling was lying when she asked if she had been up to the cliffs. Why would she lie, unless she had been up to the cliffs last night, making sure the muscle that she had hired didn't spill the beans? Toph explains. Toph knows that they were involved, even if she doesn't have evidence. She explains that she'll pretend to train Yaling, and while she's failing at it, I'll find out what she and her mother are up to. Ooh, cozying up to a suspect. I like it, Sokka tells her. As they head back to the factory, Sokka suddenly gasps and rushes away from the group. Suki sits out front, petting an eel hound that she had borrowed to get to the city. The two hug, happy to see one another, hugging and talking in the disgustingly cute way of young couples. Aang and Katara put their heads together, awing about how cute they think Sokka and Suki are. Well, I'm out of here, Toph gags. She heads into the factory, finding Satoru sitting in sadness. Hey, Satoru. Yikes, this place is a mess, she comments. The young man nods with sadness, pointing out how long the machines will take to repair. Nah, you don't need months, you just need me, Toph tells him as she begins to bend the metal around them. While she continues to work, Satoru reveals to her that he feels responsible for making the benders obsolete by making his machines. But Toph disagrees, believing that there wouldn't be enough jobs for the benders in the city anyway. The next morning, Toph lounges under an umbrella on the beach as Yaling glares at a shard of metal buried in the sand. She punches downward, with the earth exploding in every direction. Yet the metal does not move. Ooh, you almost had it that time, Toph calls to her. Yaling turns, angry. I don't understand why this is so hard, she snaps. Toph just smiles, telling the girl that she needs to be patient, that even the Avatar couldn't learn metal bending. Yaling sits down, and the two women begin to chat. Toph apologizes for Aang, telling Yaling that he can sometimes be a little pushy and lacks social skills. Toph lets her know that she is upset to see so many skilled benders out of work in the city. It's okay by me if those machines aren't fixed right away, you know? She says with a smile. Yaling stands, turning her back to Toph and looking out over the water. You and the Avatar, you close? She asks. Toph smiles, knowing that she has the girl right where she wants her. She explains that they're not that close, and that she mostly hangs around him to get free stuff. Yaling sits back down, telling Toph that there are a lot of people in town who feel that things have been out of balance since the war ended. There's a meeting tonight for concerned citizens of Cranefish Town. We want to return things to their natural order, make things how they used to be, how they should be. Would you like to join us? Yaling asks. Sure. I like things in the natural order, Toph tells her. Yaling smiles and gives her the password. A short time later, Toph kicks in the door of the team's house, interrupting their card game. She tells everyone about what Yaling told her and informs them of her plan to go in and bash everyone's head in. Hold on, we need to discuss this. We shouldn't rush into anything, Katara tells her. She tells them that they need proof of what Li Ling is doing and why she's doing it. So we go in, bash some heads, and make them tell us what they're doing, Toph tells her. What if we tried it without bashing heads? Sokka asks. We could do that, but why? Toph asks. Sokka smiles, telling them that they should sneak in after Toph and hear the meeting for themselves. And everyone smiles and agrees. Seems like less fun, but if that's the way you want to do it, Toph says, crossing her arms. That night, the team follows Toph, wearing their disguises. Aang scratches at his head, not too fond of his wig. They watch as she enters the door and then quickly approach the guard.
What's the password?
The thug asks. Imbalance, they respond, and the man smiles as he opens the door. Welcome to the cause, my friends. The team moves through the tunnels, part of the mines that should have been sealed. Beneath the town, they find a large gathering of people, and Aang and Sokka see some of the benders from the council in the room, as well as the kids that Aang met at the beach. There's Toph, up front with Ya Ling. Should we get close to her? Suki asks, but Sokka shakes his head, telling her that they should hang back. Councilwoman Li Ling steps to the front of the crowd, beginning her speech. She tells the gathering of Lao's proposed bender ban, about how he wants to push the benders out of the town with his machines. Anger sweeps through the gathering of people as they begin to call for action. Li Ling continues, calling for benders to take their natural place above non-benders, to rule governments, businesses, and protect communities. That is their rightful place in the world, and she calls for the benders to put aside their differences and join her in this fight. This woman is out of her mind. We need to stop this, Katara whispers to Aang. We can't start a fight here. We're outnumbered, he whispers back. Li Ling begins to explain her plan to drive the non-benders out of the city by destroying their machines and putting them out of business. We will set right the imbalance in the world. Cranefish Town will become a city that belongs to the benders alone, she yells as she finishes her speech. The crowd begins to cheer, and Aang tells his friends that they need to go. But before they can leave, they see Toph walking up to the stage. Ya Ling introduces the young woman, telling her mother that Toph wishes to join their cause. Is this true? Li Ling asks. Actually, no. You're crazy, lady, and you're going down. By the power invested in me, by me, you're under arrest, Toph shouts, shocking everyone. Ya Ling calls Toph a traitor, bending a chunk of earth and throwing it at her. But Toph just scoffs, easily knocking the earth aside and punching more chunks at her. You've turned your back on your kind. You chose non-benders over us, Ya Ling shouts, leaping away. Those non-benders are my friends and family. I'll always choose them over you, Toph yells back. Aang and the team reveal themselves, moving through the crowd to help their friend. Li Ling is shocked to see the boy, glaring at him. You should have stayed away from my city, Avatar. I never wanted to be your enemy, she snaps. She shouts to the crowd, pointing out how the Avatar stands against the benders. The crowd turns on them, surrounding the team and calling out angrily. I don't want to fight you, Aang says to the gathering. Too late for that, Avatar. You chose your side, Li Ling tells him. She creates a wall of earth amongst the crowd, separating Team Avatar from each other before launching shards of dirt at Aang. Drive the Avatar out of our city. Now is the time to fight for what's yours, she tells the crowd. The crowd of benders begin to attack, but find themselves outmatched by Team Avatar as every team member begins to take out multiple people. On the stage, Ya Ling and Toph continue to fight. You're a lousy teacher. You didn't teach me anything about metal bending, Ya Ling shouts as she punches at Toph with earth gloves. That's the worst insult you can come up with? I got news for you, Toph shouts, blocking and dodging the teenager's attack. I've taught an entire school full of lily-livered knuckleheads to metal bend. You can't learn metal bending because you're a terrible bender, Toph shouts, knocking the girl aside with a pillar of earth to the stomach. I'm an amazing bender! Better than you, Ya Ling shouts back. Prove it, Toph smiles, creating her own stone gauntlets. They launch at each other, their gauntlets smashing at the same time and knocking them both away. Rue runs for her sister, trying to help her to her feet so they can escape, but they look up to see Sokka and Suki standing over them. Sorry guys, you're not going anywhere, Sokka smiles at them. Ya Ling launches into attack that Sokka dodges. Suki leaps in, hitting Ya Ling in several spots and chi blocking her. Ya Ling is shocked as her arms hang useless by her sides. Li Ling stares down at the floor below her, anger in her eyes. She creates another burst of earth, scattering everyone. Rue is shocked as her mother tells her to grab her sister and run. "I won't let what we've worked for end here," Li Ling tells her daughter. She creates a tunnel, ordering her daughters to escape while she holds off Team Avatar. The crowd of benders begin to escape while Li Ling begins to shake the ceiling above them. Aang knocks the woman aside with a gust of air, yelling for Toph to steady the ceiling above them. Suki rushes in, chi-blocking Li Ling with a few quick blows. "You're under arrest for crimes against the people of Cranefish Town," Aang tells her as the team stands over her. "No, it's only just begun," Li Ling tells them with a smile. In the darkness of the city streets, Rue and Ya Ling make their way home. But Ya Ling is still stunned, and she falls to the ground with her arms hanging uselessly at her side. Rue tries to comfort her sister, telling her that it is only temporary and her bending will come back. "What if it doesn't? Then I'll be just like you," Ya Ling whispers. Rue hears these words, and anger flashes in her eyes. She stands, ordering her sister to follow her so they can figure out how to get their mother back. At the factory, the team has Li Ling locked in a cage that Toph explains is escape-proof. Toph believes that if they capture her daughters, then their plans will end. Sokka walks down, explaining that the anger and support for her movement has swept through the benders of the city. She's bringing to surface resentments between benders and non-benders that have been brewing for ages, Sokka tells them. Aang nods, looking over at the woman in the cage. "We still need to decide what to do with her," he tells them. And Toph steps up to her friend. "Oh, I know what we should do with her, Twinkletoes," she tells him. Aang is shocked by her words. "Make an example of her so her supporters back off. Do to Li Ling what you did to the Fire Lord. Take her bending away." And that, my friends, is the cliffhanger that I'm going to leave you on today. If you enjoyed this chapter of the story Imbalance, please let me know in the comments down below. And be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and click that bell icon to get notifications when new videos go live. And if you want to support the channel even more, you can go over to patreon.com/Comicstorian or sign up with YouTube membership. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you next time with Imbalance Part 3.